Everyone, this is Kat. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm back after yet another hiatus. If you can tell by my voice, getting over actually the flu this time. We've continued, like most people in this part of the world and maybe around the world, to have a bunch of respiratory illnesses passing through the house recently. But just as that inspired my last video to talk about what you can do to help alleviate the symptoms and possibly prevent sinus issues and some of it, related to respiratory stuff as well, I wanted to come back here today and show you one of my favorite yoga poses, and I think one of the best ones to have in your arsenal. Because it's a great one that you can use when you're not feeling so great or if you're really tired, but it has a lot of benefits. And so this one is called Legs Up the Wall. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit and then describe it to you too before I actually demonstrate it, because I think once I'm getting into the pose, it's going to be hard for you to hear me. But let me go through it first and talk a little bit about why I love this pose so much and why it's a favorite, among yoga teachers and yoga practitioners alike. So legs up the wall, it's considered an inversion. And if you're not familiar with the term inversion, inversions relate to anything where you're kind of reversing the effects of gravity or going upside down. So typically think of headstands, handstands, things of that nature. So legs up the wall, you're not getting up on your hands. You're actually going to be laying on your back, but your legs are going to be up against the wall. And it does have some of the same effects as other inversions, such as reversing the effects of gravity. So and everything that comes with that. So it is considered an inversion. So this is a great place to start if you've always wanted to try inversions but feel a little bit intimidated by like handstands. But it's also great, like I said, to practice if you're tired, ill, have any kind of mobility issues or injuries that would prevent you, like such as like a shoulder issue, for example, or maybe just don't have the strength built because you really do need strong like lats and core. To get up into something like a handstand. So this can be great regardless of where you are in your yoga journey. And so because it's an inversion, one of its major benefits is that it can help reduce swelling and also increase circulation. Because if you think about it, when you go from upright to upside down in any capacity, the fluid and the blood is going to drain. So in this case, it'll drain from your feet, your ankles, your legs, more into the core of your body. And this can be really helpful if, let's say, you're somebody that suffers from just, for whatever reason, swelling in your feet and legs. It can be really good if you have any blood pressure, especially low blood pressure issues. It can also be helpful if you've been traveling. So if you think about sitting for a long time, especially like on a plane or in a car, and you haven't had an opportunity to get up and move around a lot, it can help get the blood flowing that's been stagnating from sitting too long. Some of the other benefits is even though it looks like you're not doing very much, you're actually stretching a lot of things in legs up the wall. You're stretching your hamstrings, you're stretching your glutes, you're getting into your back and hips, and you're even stretching, and this is all very gentle, your shoulders, upper back, and neck as well. And because of that, it relieves a lot of tension in your body. It relieves like low back tension, it relieves tension in the neck. And this can actually help with alleviating headaches, especially migraines or any kind of tension headache that's caused by, tension in the body or any muscular tightness. Um, and another huge benefit of this is it's very calming to the nervous system, to the point where I would actually call it sedating. I myself have actually dozed off in this pose before, and I've had quite a few yoga students doze off in this pose before, because if you try it out yourself, you'll see that it's very calming. It can actually put you almost in a meditative space, especially if you use deep breathing and belly breathing along with it. And it can be really helpful if you're somebody that has trouble winding down in the evenings or trouble sleeping or falling asleep, staying asleep. This is a great pose to do right before bed, as it can really kind of get you into that space where you're ready to knock out for the night. So let me describe a little bit about what I'm going to do, and then I'll go ahead and show you. So I have my mat and my bolster set up behind me. You can see. And so what I have is I have the short end of my mat up against the wall. This wall happens to have some plugs there. Ideally, you choose a wall that's completely flat without anything in the way, but I'm having to kind of make the best of what I have. So you want to find, a flat space on your wall. Bring your mat so that the short edge is up against meeting the wall. So if you see underneath this bolster, the mat's right there. And then you can either be laying flat or you can sit up on a bolster like this or a blanket that's folded. Um, that's just the benefit of the blanket or the bolster is it gives your hips a little bit of elevation and it just increases the benefits of the inversion. But it's totally up to you and what feels most comfortable. For the bolster may feel a little too high up if you're new to this and not super flexible. So you may want to just stick with something like this if you want some kind of padding or elevation underneath you. You can use a block also if you have one of those handy. So what you would do is you're going to sit so that your hips are against the wall or up on, if you're sitting up on the bolster or blanket. And then you're going to flip your legs up onto the wall as you lay your upper body back onto the mat behind you. And then you can just kind of wiggle and get comfortable. Maybe let your arms fall out to the side or come up into what we call cactus arms, which that if you do the cactus arms, that'll give you a nice stretch up here through what's called the pec minor. And will help with some of the back as well. Or you can just kind of relax down like that as you would as if you were going into corpse pose or shavasana. And then you just keep your legs straight. You definitely want at least a small bend in your knee and maybe a bigger one if your hamstrings are really tight. Definitely don't force your legs to be straight. Um, and then you just kind of settle in and get comfortable. Some people like to enhance the effects of the grounding aspect of the pose by taking an additional blanket and placing it over their belly or placing it over their feet. And I can show you how to do that once I get over there. Some people, most people don't have this around, but you might find them in a yoga studio, like a sandbag, or you could even make one, like take an old sock, an old tube sock, and stuff it with rice or sand. And it just gives some additional weight to the body, which can feel really nice, especially if you're feeling a little agitated or trying to calm down before bed. The added weight helps to calm your nervous system even more. And then you can also grab an eye pillow if you'd like and throw it on. This one I really love because it's got some lavender in it. So just throw it right on top of your face as you're relaxing there. And it just, all of those things come together to help enhance the experience and easing you into that meditative state. So I'm going to go ahead, like I said, and show you how to get up into the pose. And I'll show you how you can place the blanket on your feet yourself. Ideally, if somebody was around, they could help you with that, or they would do that if you were in a yoga studio. The teacher would come around and help you with that. But it is relatively easy to do it yourself if you have the flexibility and mobility to do so. So let me go ahead and show you how to get into legs up the wall. And just an added note to this, um, you don't have to necessarily do this on the floor. If you're not able, you could do this in a bed. I've heard of people doing it up against their headboard, in their bedroom. Or another thing that you can do, if it's not comfortable to really straighten your legs, I've done it before where people have used, they've done it up against a couch or a chair, and then you can just kind of bend your knees over and rest on the cushions. You won't get as much of the benefit of like the draining of any kind of fluid or blood that's in your legs, but you'll still get some of the stretching and you'll definitely get the sedative feeling or a sedative effect of it. All right, so here we go. So here I am over on my mat. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and sit on my bolster. I'm going to sit up right against the edge. You do the same thing if you were with the blanket. And then I'm going to lean back, swing my legs up to the wall, and then slowly lower down onto my back, kind of sliding off the bolster. So you may have to adjust. I can try to actually kind of wiggle myself closer if I want to, or I can slip the bolster. There's not really a right or wrong way to do this. And then, like I said, You just kind of get your legs as straight as you can comfortably, so that you can feel some stretch back here. I'm feeling it a little bit in my calves as well. And then in this case, since I'm going to add my blanket, like I said, you can put it over here. That gives you some weight, or you can just bend your knees and try to get it up on your feet. And it doesn't seem like it, but it does give enough weight to feel extra grounded. And then you just let your arms either come out to the side or up like the cactus arm. And then just lay here and relax. And then when you're ready to come down from the wall, you're just going to gently bend your knees, especially if you have something on top of them. Grab your blanket. And then you're just going to gently roll off to the side and then come up to a seated position. And how long you stay there is up to you. I would recommend maybe staying there at least 5 minutes to start, which may feel like a long time if you're not used to just staying in one place and not doing anything for a period of time. But it's really helpful if you can stay for a little while to get the full benefits of it. You can always do things like focusing on your breathing. Some people like to count backwards, maybe starting at 50 and counting with each breath, just to kind of keep your mind a little bit occupied while you're laying there. When I teach this in a class, I usually have like some soft music in the background. And then you can just start working your way up to it. I often like to hang out there anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how much time I have and what, my goals are for it, which sounds like a really long time, but once you get settled in and comfortable, and get into the zone, the time actually does fly by really quickly. But like I said, I would work your way up, maybe start with 3 to 5 minutes and then start working your way up if you find that it's helpful and it's something that you like. And like I said, it's fairly easy, but it has a lot of great benefits. So I would definitely suggest giving it a try. If you have any questions about it or have any questions about how to modify it for your purposes, please let me know. You can always leave me a message below this video and I will happily respond as soon as I'm able. Hope you have a good rest of your day or evening wherever you are in the world, and I hope to be back to see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.